Even after all of that they went through, at the end, Kirk is still like, all right, well, you know, this kid, he needs to be around, like, people. Like, we'll take this kid.
I know, right?
And he's already made a lady a lizard.
I know.
He made a lady into a Dick Tracy character.
Yes.
A lot of, like, attacks against women in this. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
I think
That's Charlie's reacting adolescently.
Yeah, he really wanted Janice to like him, and when she didn't, I think he just was like, all women must pay. So
what I like about Janice Rand, I mean, there's a lot of things I like about Janice Rand, and
her hairstyle for one.
That's all I like.
Oh.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh.
No, I mean, like, you know, now in this like day and age where we're looking for all kinds of different corners of the Star Trek universe to dig into, you know, and explore, and there was a captain before Kirk. Let's do a show about him.
Yeah, right.
And now we've got like Lower Decks. You know, there's Lower Decks like episode. DS9 did a Lower Decks episode too, didn't they? No, Voyager did.
Yeah, Voyager did.
With the McKee crew members and Tuvok's trying to whip them into shape.
Yeah.
And now, but like we had that character all along. Like Janice is like, you know, she's an officer, a low-ranked officer, I'm assuming, but she's the person who, she's a girl, so, you know, she doesn't have a command role, or she doesn't like tell anybody what to do because we got rid of number one. But she was like the outsider perspective. Like she was the normal person that was just like, this is some crazy stuff. Like what's going every day? There's a green hand grabbing your ship, but like I'm just providing like the whoa, what is this kind of like basic human reaction to things. So, you know, I wish she hadn't been assaulted, you know, and wanted to quit the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I had to bring everything down. But,
oh, no, she was assaulted?
Well, read her autobiography.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about it on a Star Trek show, which this is not.
No, it's not.
This is the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Yakan Hana.
We only rarely talk about Star Trek. We'll be talking more about Star Trek on this week's episode of Enterprising Individuals.
Yes.
Check that out. Maybe some Janice Rand talk. We don't know. In the meantime, we're here to report all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment. And often that news is sad.
Yes.
This has been a really bad weekend.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And I hate always starting the show with people passing away.
I know, but it just seems to be it seems like it's happening at an exponential rate these days.
I don't think that means what you think it means, but
okay. It seems like it's happening more frequently and more often.
It'd be like if one person died, then 2 people died, then 4 people died, then 16 people died.
Oh, okay. So that's a vast exaggeration of what's actually happening, but yeah, it just seems it's bad.
Yeah,
let me just say that.
It's not good. I mean, and it's all, I don't want to rate you like as you die, but it's a lot of like kind of, you know, mid-tier or lower tier. Well, there's one heavy hitter I can think of, and that's actor Fred Willard.
Yes.
Who, if you're a Christopher Guest movie fan, you definitely know. It's on SCTV, right? And just a comedy staple, a guy who had kind of one character, but he was really good at that character.
Yeah.
And just playing just a buffoon.
Yes.
And I love a good buffoon, and he was one of the best. And it's sad.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like, I think he's probably one of his most recent roles is Modern Family. I don't know who he played on that show because I didn't watch that show. But I know he was on Modern Family.
He played. I just read an article about him. So he played. What's his name? The dad of the family's dad. I think. Yeah, the
grandpa.
Yeah.
The Grand Pater Familias.
Yes.
Is that a thing? It is now. That was sad to hear. Astrid Kirchherr had died. Somebody who, a name you wouldn't immediately know, but she was a German photographer and artist who gave the Beatles their mop top haircut. She took some of the first pictures of the Beatles.
Okay.
I believe that very famous picture of them they're on a burned out streetcar or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's back when Stuart Sutcliffe was with the band. Sutcliffe. There's a movie that I'm not sure how historically accurate it is. It's called Backbeat, and it is a dramatization of those early years, the prelude-filled days in the Rathskeller in Berlin or whatever of the Beatles. And he was a guy who supposedly, depends on who you listen to, the winners write the history, but he was a guitarist. He wasn't necessarily all that good, but he was good looking.
Okay.
And so he was sort of like good for the band in that way, but Paul, wasn't super excited about having another cute one. But it didn't matter eventually because he fell in love with Astrid, and they sort of ran off together and were together.
Oh, okay.
And then he tragically died like a few years later of a brain hemorrhage.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really sad.
Yeah. But anyway, she had continued to be a photographer and an artist and, died at the age of 81. But somebody who is another figure that we've lost. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of other people. Carlos Santana's brother died, Jorge Santana, who was a musician as well, and his youngest brother. And Carlos had a very touching but a very Carlos sort of tribute to him, saying that he'd transitioned to another realm, man, and
whoa,
I'm gonna miss him. But
that's
really sad.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with this person, but a lot of people were talking about this. Frank Bielek, who was a designer on the TLC show Trading Spaces, died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 72.
Okay, all right.
You watched Trading Spaces?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, well then. Feel for his family.
I do. I do.
Not funny. And Lynn Shelton died. She was a director and a writer and a producer as well, who'd worked on a couple things that I wasn't familiar with, but I was familiar with the miniseries Little Fires Everywhere, which she was involved in. And she was involved personally with Mark Maron.
Yeah,
there were a couple.
I heard about that too.
And she had directed a couple episodes of Glow, which is a show that he is on. And passed away again, just very, very suddenly.
Very young. She was like only in her 50s.
Yep, early 50s.
It was like some undiagnosed blood condition.
Yeah,
or something
well,
like
we don't know
that,
exactly what it was, but it just sounds like it was fast and very sad. And then Phyllis George, who you might not be familiar with, celebrities work differently today than they used to. Mm-hmm. It used to be you could, win a beauty contest or sell orange juice or, speaking of juice, be one of the best running backs of all time and sell gloves, then, murder your wife and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so they just, celebrities are different. But Phyllis George was a beauty queen. She won, I think, Miss America in 1971. And then went on to be the host of NFL Today on, I think that was on ESPN, like in its very early days.
Okay.
She was one of the first national female correspondents for sports.
Cool. Yeah.
And she was an entrepreneur as well. I remember Chicken by George, which was a series of, I don't know if they were frozen, but just sort of like chicken meals for the whole family.
Sure.
That lasted only a couple of years, and then they were bought by Nestle or something like that.
Whoa.
So, if you want to sell big, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So, yeah, and she was only 70, so
a
little too early there as well.
I feel like
none of these deaths,
COVID
related.
No, I feel like you're missing one.
Oh well, hit me.
Jerry Stiller.
Oh, I thought that we had talked about him already.
No, we didn't talk about him.
Then that was
already.
early. Well, then I apologize. The airing of the grievances can begin now.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
He was older, but I think also not COVID related. And yeah, just sad to see him go. Just a really, really funny guy.
Yeah, and somebody who, he was like 92, so he did okay. But
yeah, I think he did okay.
He had been an entertainer for over 60 years, just so long. Both him and his wife, he got his start in comedy as a duo with his wife and Mira. And Stiller and Mira were, a comedy team, very funny. And then he went on to kind of later, I think, in life. He had a couple roles here and there, but later in life started to get more TV and movie roles. And, of course, his son was Ben Stiller as well. And was in a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
And, just saddening.
Mm-hmm.
Not COVID-related.
Not COVID-related.
I don't know that's important, but you just got to check.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's important for right now because you always wonder, is this COVID related?
Yeah,
so,
I guess.
Yeah. But, a lot of really, I mean, it's never fun, is it? So,
No, and all we can do is just, try to memorialize them, and we've got the work that they left behind.
Yep.
And, the families that they started, and in some of the cases, the legacies that they started.
Yeah.
How funny you
Exactly.
think Ben Stiller's kids are?
I don't know. That's a really good question. He turned out funny, so something weren't there. So maybe if he just does what his dad did, like they'll be funny too.
I guess.
I don't know.
A lot of famous people's kids don't
necessarily
experience
amount to much of anything.
Well, don't experience the influencing factors that make them funny, talented, what have you. Paul McCartney has kids, right?
I think so.
Well, anyway, his kids didn't try to be singers like John Lennon's kids, who, are probably fine, but are no John Lennon. Although they did have their dad abandon them, depending on, I guess, which one we're talking about.
Oh, boy.
That's a motivator right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, presumably Ben Stiller had everything that he would have wanted, and it turned out pretty funny. So
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this. We're going to move to something else.
I guess speaking of kid-related things, I saw something.
Hey, segue.
I didn't read it, but apparently The Rock, his oldest daughter, is going into the WWE.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Fourth generation then?
Is it really?
Well, Rocky's grandfather was Rocky Maivia and was
did not know that.
a very early wrestler.
Huh.
So that's four.
That's an impressive line.
He's got his own Gagne family or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
kind of cool.
That's impressive. Didn't expect wrestling news from you. That's what really impresses me.
I aim to please.
Yeah. Well, here's your transition. Jerry Stiller was in a movie called Hairspray.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
And there was a remake of Hairspray that came out recently.
Yep.
Starring Jon Travolta.
Yes.
Is that role typically cross-dressed or cross-cast?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, anyway, for some reason, Jon Travolta was in the role of the lady who's the mother of the whatever.
I'm
not very familiar with Hairspray.
Of the lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Jon Travolta in an era when that would be unthinkable, I think.
Yes.
It's what I like to call the cool smoking Jon Travolta era.
Which I would challenge. Didn't that start in Greece?
Well, there was a lot of cool smoking.
Okay.
Stockard Channing's cool smoking.
Uh-huh.
Olivia Newton-John's cool smoking. Everybody's cool smoking.
Yeah.
But he kept it going. And I've already talked about
into the 90s.
We've already talked about the movie Hard Target on this show.
Yep.
Which was John Woo's first American film.
Yes.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. I wouldn't necessarily credit him with a lot of savvy necessarily when it comes to picking projects and collaborators, but he knew right away this guy who's been a sensation, the most famous director in Hong Kong, is coming to America. I got to get on this and get him to let me punch a snake in a movie. And that didn't go well. The movie turned out great, but their relationship was not very strong and led to them parting ways. And then somebody who I do think of as being generally fairly savvy popped in his post Pulp Fiction career resurgence and said, I'm going to do 2 movies with John Woo.
Yep.
And those movies are Broken Arrow and Face Off.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about those films today. The cool, smoking John Travolta films directed by John Woo. The 2 Johns, one of them's playing a jazz clarinet, one of them's smoking and it looks like he's trying to play a jazz clarinet. That's our feature.
That is our feature.
For today.
Yes.
We'll also be talking about the news, and that's pretty much it.
That is it.
I mean, we could cram some more in there, but we're trying to get out of here a little early because we're starting so late tonight. So that's what we'll be talking about. We're already 15 minutes into the show.
Wow.
So really quick, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, let's talk about the news. Ready?
Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
You always reply. So we never get a clean flash, but that's okay. We got stories about a lot of different stuff, so we'll be kind of shooting all around the shop here as we look at some of our stories. That's right, we talked about Little Richard last week. Okay, I'm just trying to orient myself by celebrity deaths here, and I think I've got it. Right? Let's talk about films. A former Marvel studio executive is going to produce a new Dungeons and Dragons film. Now,
I have not heard about this.
Yes, I feel like there had been whispers of this. This story seems familiar, but it will be written by the writing team of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, the guys behind Game Night and 2 of the 6 writers of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Cool. I'm excited about the prospect of this, especially since, I've seen the one Dungeons and Dragons movie, the Jeremy Irons one. Which I think we probably talked about on this show. But, yeah, not great. So I'm excited at the prospect of a possibly good one.
Well, we talked about that on the show, and there is a sort of long, twisted story about bringing that to screen and the guy who's kind of trying to spearhead it, and it was a passion project for him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else this Jeremy Latcham guy is working on. But he did work on Homecoming with that writing duo, so they're getting the Homecoming magic back together. And I don't know his connection to D&D specifically, but Hasbro released a statement basically just saying that they were excited about this. And it's just one of those, our brand is 50 years. But anyway, it seems like we're trying to get the pieces together, and hopefully it'll be something good.
I'm hopeful, too.
Is this like a video game?
Why?
In that it's hard to make a video game movie because player agency is such a big important part of video game films, and role-playing games. Role-playing games, I'd argue, agency is even more important than a video game.
I would argue that as well, especially because how do you really? You basically just turn it into a fantasy film, right? How do you really put that agency in there of creating your own character and then having that character make choices as you go?
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that unless you also show players playing and then you show the characters for the action of the film. And I don't know if that makes an exciting film or not,
Well, it worked for Stranger Things and it worked for Community.
Well, that's true.
And for that one scene in E.T. The problem is that when you take away that element of it, D&D is just the suggestion of a fantasy story. There is no story there. The whole thing about D&D is you sit down and you go, what are we going to do? We're going to be heroes with swords that are going to kill the beast.
Yes.
And you go, okay, now I'm going to be Bing Bong the Archer, and we're going to do it in a certain town, and I'm going to seduce the dragon or whatever. Right. What you bring to it makes it what it is.
Exactly.
At its core, it's just a story about, a guy. And that's kind of the problem with the D&D movie, I thought. It was just guy... that actor has been in something or other. I can't remember.
The guy who played the lead.
But he's just like guy with a comedy sidekick who's going to, slay the beast.
Who dies.
And then Jeremy Irons is blowing a gasket, having a stroke. He's just having so much fun in that movie.
I know.
Just for that, it's worth it.
I guess.
So we'll see. Hopefully that'll be good.
I got some other Hasbro D&D related news.
I can't believe it.
Did you see that Hasbro is putting out a My Little Pony D&D set? It's like about 5 or 6 ponies that are different D&D characters, and it comes also with a 20-sided die.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Is it sparkly?
I think maybe it is, but no word yet on how much the set costs. It looks kind of cool. Check it out.
They have to have a. There's got to be a Friendship is Magic episode where they play D&D or something.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I would be surprised.
Big question.
At least maybe now there will be.
Big question.
Yeah.
How'd they roll a die? Got their little
with their heads,
with their nose,
or their hooves,
their little
or their
hooves together there.
Yeah.
Kind of wedge it, pick it up, then flip it. They smack it with their tails. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Speaking of fantasy and movies that are coming together or not, believe it or not, we finally have a release date for New Mutants from Fox Studios.
Yes. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's going to come out on August 8th, 2020, and I will believe it after I've seen it and I'm leaving the theater.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Yes.
What was the hold up, do you think? Like, were they testing the water?
Was a big hold up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mean the fact that the trailer came out almost 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Boone is, he's The Fault in Our Stars. He's Paper Towns. How many? I think he's done a couple YAs, hasn't he?
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he wanted to make this film. Fox said, we never know what we're doing. So you're a YA guy. The New Mutants are teenagers. Perfect. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I want to make a horror film. Uh-huh. And they're like, okay. And then he apparently makes this horror film. But I think I don't know if it was in the can, but I think before it was even in the can, problems came down. Mm-hmm. The producers are like, I don't know if this is like mainstream appeal, and you want to have an R rating. I don't know if that works. Right. And so the gears gummed up enough that Rosario Dawson, who has a big role in the film, had to drop out to do...
I don't know what else.
Clerks too? Where is she?
I don't know.
Anyway. And so they're like, okay, well now we have a new actress, Alice Braga, so we have to reshoot all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I think the rework goblins got in, and so they had to start, well, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do this. And a couple months ago, we got the news that the movie was going to be completed and was going to come out someday, and they were going back to the more, I don't think it's R, but the more scary version of it.
Yeah.
And they were going to cut a lot of the extra stuff that they shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Rosario Dawson's not in it still. So
Right.
I don't really like Alice Braga as an actress, but I feel bad for her because is she going to be in this at all?
Yeah, right. Yeah, is what we see of her just going to be what we saw in the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see just what this thing looks like once we see it. You know what I mean?
Yep, it'll be interesting to see their take on X-Men that aren't X-Men, on making a horror superhero movie, and also totally, retreating from those two goals and just making a generic superhero movie, which it'll almost definitely be, because they always are.
Which is not very exciting.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if The Fault is in their stars. No. Speaking of movies, movies are coming back. Movie theaters across America are opening again. There are about 200 locations open.
Wow.
As of Friday of last week.
That many? Mm-hmm. That's more than I would have expected. Okay.
About half of those, or maybe more than half, are drive-in theaters.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But you do see, I don't know if you've seen pictures, but a lot of movie theaters are implementing safeguards, which, honestly, what are they going to do?
I
you just sit down in a room for 2.5 hours with somebody who's coughing, you're going to get whatever they've got. But it's things like sneeze guards on the back of seats.
Whoa.
So there's plastic behind it, and it's like,
okay.
And then I look at the movie screen through that.
Oh, good point.
And there's, I assume, social distancing in the seating arrangements.
Right.
I remember when we went to see...
Bloodshot?
Not Sonic. We saw Bloodshot. Why did we see Bloodshot?
Yeah.
When you bought the tickets, at that point, people were like, hey, stay 6 feet apart. So it was like a checkerboard, being able to pick your seat.
Yes.
Every other seat was not available. And so, yeah, I think they'll be doing that still. And
well, you were kind of a fan of that, though. It's kind of nice
like the isolation.
To not have to sit next to somebody.
The last time we went to that theater, I walked through, knee-high... orange soda to get to my spot because some kid had tipped his drink over.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah. Don't hate that, honestly. So, I don't know. We'll see.
But it's not good for the theaters. How are they going to get any of this money? Yeah. And the big money that we're looking at here is, of course, the summer movie schedule, of which Christopher Nolan still thinks he's going to be a part of.
Yes.
And it looks like Tenet is still on for its July 17th release date.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know. I think Warner Brothers... I heard somewhere that Warner Brothers needs about 80% of theaters to be open in order to... I'm not sure if it's just contractual or if it's to like recoup what you think of as the typical path of a film.
Sure.
Making its opening weekend and then going down. Like to make the money back and to just satisfy like contractual obligations for a release. Like they've got to have like 80% of the theaters open. That's not going to happen.
No.
I'll tell you right now, that's not going to happen. So I'm kind of, or I don't know. There's 2.5 months until then. But,
yeah.
Or, no, it's just 2 months until then.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's...
If only we could rewind time with your Tenet powers or whatever happens in the film.
Right. Well, I'm just wondering, when you go out to restaurants or you're in the movie theater, do you wear your mask there, take it off while you're eating your popcorn, and then do you put it back on when you're done with your popcorn? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's why none of it works.
Well, I don't know.
Apparently, Nolan also makes 20% of the first dollar gross because he's a big shot.
Ooh.
So I think his money comes out of that, which means that it's even more important for Warner Brothers to have a wide release on this.
Yeah.
So he doesn't shave off a fifth of everything and just pocket it and go home.
Right.
And buy a newer and bigger 3D camera, IMAX camera. So we'll see. Rooting for him, you know?
Yeah, I want to
him.
see it for sure.
Hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller are going to direct Ryan Gosling in a new astronaut film. It is an adaptation of Andy Weir's next novel.
Okay.
Which, I'm just going off of, let's see, the memory of the conversation that we had. But I think the book's called Artemis.
Okay. Wow.
Just,
some big name
pick
drop
up that
in
name
there.
for me. Thanks.
Okay. Why? So Artemis.
Well, that's what it was. No, it was supposed to be. This is called Project Hail Mary. Maybe it's his next book after the next book.
Oh, okay. Any idea what that's about?
An astronaut. Why does Gosling want to play an astronaut so much? He just got done playing Neil Armstrong. He was literally Neil Armstrong.
I don't know. Maybe he really likes the moon.
He played the first astronaut. Now the last astronaut.
He's got to have bookends, with his films. I don't know. Like, some people are just obsessed with space. Maybe he's like a real space nut.
I think he's got a space face.
Whoa.
Take that.
Space face.
Run with it.
Yeah.
He just looks like a steely-eyed missile man, if they ever remake The Right Stuff. And you know what? Again, this is my new favorite thing to do.
What?
Do it. Remake The Right Stuff.
Whoa.
I think we'd all agree that The Right Stuff is entertaining, but was
seen it.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Remember the scene where Ed Harris is on the phone and he's talking to his wife, and they're like, "You let me talk to her," and he's like, "It's okay, honey. We're going up in space." Remember that scene? I remember the scene at the end where they're all dancing with the feathers. There's a bunch of half-naked ladies dancing, and you're like, "Why is this the end of an astronaut movie?"
Why don't I remember this?
Remember the scene where they're like, "You gotta get out there. We need the Australian guys to track their signal." And so now we're in Australia, and people are dancing around fires.
I don't remember this.
Okay, well, here's my point. It's a movie you could never remake because you could never get the character that film has, even though it's not really an all-time great film. And like I said, I think it was probably financially disappointing, but it has character, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But for some reason, though... Boop, 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 boop. Drive guy. He is
Ryan Gosling.
Not Drive guy. Drive guy was another guy. Yam Yam guy. La La man. La La. Bye Bye Man. La La Land.
The guy who directed La La
Damien
Land?
Chazelle.
Okay.
Did the jazz movie about astronauts. And he wanted to do that.
Wow.
And hopefully this is like about SpaceX astronauts, or like the new world of...
What were SpaceX astronauts?
It's like the Elon Musk thing. And
okay.
I'm bored.
Whoa.
Here's something that... Do it. Remake 10.
What?
They're going to remake 10.
Oh, 10 where...
Blake Edwards, classic film 10. Dudley Moore, Bo Derek.
Yeah.
They're remaking it.
I've seen the poster for it. That's all I know about it. She's a 10. That's all I know.
Yeah, well.
Okay. All right.
Pick it for co-videos. They're remaking it. Now, again, another film. I wouldn't call it a fantastic film necessarily. Why would you remake that film? And here's the best part. Julie Andrews is executive producing.
Why?
Because she's married to Blake Edwards. Or, I think, still. But for a long time they were married.
Wow. Okay.
So she's like, well, he's dead. Now I'm going to remake 10.
That's okay.
What's next? Could an SOP remake be far behind?
Wow.
Well, if they remake A Shot in the Dark, oh boy, we're gonna have
Oh my God.
trouble.
Wow.
Problems.
Okay. It just seems like a weird pairing, but I guess that makes sense in a sort of way. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why would you want to remake this film? Just to modernize it or something? I don't know.
I don't know what it's about.
What 10 is about?
I've never seen it.
Okay, neither have I. I mean, she's just a hot chick,
But
right?
it's a one in a long line. This was in the late 70s and sort of early to mid 80s of films where some geek is with like
a
10. An incredible woman.
Right.
Every Albert Brooks film.
Poor Albert Brooks.
Well, a lot of Dudley Moore films. What's the one where Martin Short and Annette O'Toole are a couple?
I don't know.
That would happen.
Any Revenge of the Nerd movies? I don't know if that counts.
We're kind of moving out of the square, but
okay.
Yeah, okay, right. Sure. So that's coming up. What else is coming up? It looks like there is a Percy Jackson series in development at Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
And supposedly the kid who played Percy Jackson in the films was like, A-okay. And I'm like,
who cares what you think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel horrible thinking
more
that,
people than I expected to be were excited about this, and I think that's great. I feel good for them. I don't really know anything about it.
I've never read the books.
Luca Guadagnino, the guy that did Call Me By Your Name, is going to be directing the Scarface reboot. Do it. Remake Scarface.
Wow.
Here we are. This is that one that is written by and produced by the Coen brothers.
Huh.
So you've got Joel and Ethan Coen writing the script.
Yeah.
And you've got Love My Way.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to be 8 hours long. And they'll probably be dancing to that song. Right time period. Assuming it's the same time period. I don't know.
That's on my co-videos list. Maybe I should put
Call
it on
Me By Your Name?
No, Scarface.
Scarface.
I've seen Call Me By Your Name.
Remake Scarface.
Maybe I should add it to my short list. It's not on my short list.
Well, I watch it and let us know what you think. This is a problem. This is a problem. We've all heard the trouble that AMC Theaters has had.
Yeah.
Close to going out forever.
Yes.
Those stubs. No more stubs. But guess
Stubbs
what?
life.
Their stock is way up because there are rumors that Amazon is considering buying AMC.
Whoa.
Now, remember those laws that we had where studios that make the movies can't also show the movies because that's called Monopoly movies?
What the hell?
Well, nobody cares about that anymore.
Would they let something like this happen?
They let all kinds of things happen. They let T-Mobile and Sprint merge. That was probably a bad idea.
Yeah,
I mean, Sprint
that
was
was
definitely
probably
going to
a
fall
bad
apart
idea.
anyway, but regulation is gone now. Nobody cares about anything. So
It's terrifying. It's a terrifying time to be
So
alive.
good news for Stubbs members.
I guess. I don't know how I feel about it. Honestly, I mean,
We don't have a lot of AMC around here.
I look. I use Amazon. I'm not like free.
I use it, but I hate it.
Yeah, but I don't like Bezos, and yeah.
Well, I already snuck a TV story in there, so let's double down on that. It looks like a Head of the Class reboot is in the works at HBO Max.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
There's just never been another school show that tells it like it is.
You could just make up a new one.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be Head of the Class?
Billy Scottish is around somewhere. What's his name again?
I don't.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody knows, but we're going to be doing that.
Okay, great. Wow.
There's 8 kids. They're all different races. This is like the United Class of Benetton, and they got problems.
Oh my gosh.
But at the end they say, "Yo, teach. Thanks."
Right,
Like,
right,
it's just
right.
literally
I know.
the joke from Funny People.
I know.
But that's
I know.
a show, I guess. Here's another show. It's called The Mandalorian, and in season 2, Timothy Olyphant will be joining the show to bring his sexy, sexy ways to the Star Wars universe.
Yes. Like when he was in The Good Place.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. I like Timothy Olyphant, so thumbs up for me as far as this goes. I don't think
we know anything about what he's going to play.
No, and I've also read something.
Trying to think of the sexiest Star Wars character.
Well, I mean, you already mentioned that it's like cowboys in space, anyways. So.
What if he was Dengar? What if we covered that adorable little Poonam up?
Who is Dengar?
He's got a bunch of bandages on his face.
Oh, okay.
What if they put him in a droid outfit? What if he was like C5,
oh, that would be kind of funny.
P9 or something?
Yeah,
like that.
right. And,
like,
then you just wouldn't know.
I programmed in over 9 million forms of communication.
Yeah, I mean, so they wrapped. I think we talked about this previously, but they've wrapped principal photography, so people don't know if like he already filmed his part,
maybe it's
and we're
just
just
voiceover?
heard it now, or like he already filmed it and we just didn't know about it. But how would we not know about it?
Yeah, that's possible.
Or is he going to be like we
Just
maybe,
in a tag or something?
Yeah, like we was suggested with Rosario Dawson or something.
Possibly,
like that.
possibly, yeah, because she's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Here's a news story. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still on. That's the only story. I didn't know that. It's
Didn't
moving
know
into
that
its
either.
7th season. That show still exists.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about your feelings about James McAvoy leading a celebrity cast of a audio adaptation of The Sandman from Vertigo Comics?
Yeah. Okay. So how do I unpack this?
Fast.
Okay. Well, I think that the cast that they put together is pretty good. I would maybe check this out. But I think you brought up some concerns, some of your concerns to me, and I think you had some pretty good points.
Can you want to say them real fast?
Your points?
Yeah.
Why you were like, why when something is in a perfect medium, like a comic book, why are you obsessed with trying to transfer that to a different medium? Why are you trying to make that work so hard?
Well, yeah. I mean, every book, it becomes a movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But books are just an attempt. Normally, I mean, you couldn't make, say, House of Leaves into a movie. The whole point is that you are experiencing a tactile phenomenon. But
would you even be able to read that book electronically? Do you think? Is that a possibility?
I don't know, but I really want to look up and see if there's an EPUB or a Audible or a version or a Kindle version of it.
Yeah.
But and it's ironic because comics, a book is a book, a movie is a movie, but a lot of books are just written to be movies, with that in mind. Mm-hmm. And comics, I think, out of all the art forms, their closest cousin is films. In fact,
yeah, that makes sense.
Comics are the basis of a film. It's called a storyboard. And that's how we know how to make the film. But maybe it's that too closeness next. Too close.
Too close? I don't. Okay.
It's my favorite 90s hit.
Oh, okay.
They're from the Twin Cities.
Oh, okay.
The band Next. Anyway, they because they're too close. You can't. For that reason, they don't work. There's just something. I don't know. It's like every comic is like a House of Leaves. I mean, it should be like you're
like Watchmen.
Turning the pages. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Watchmen.
That's just
like
old
that film.
Crabby comic fan.
Yeah, well,
who doesn't buy enough comics anymore to call himself a comic fan, but he still
stop.
does. So that's bad. Okay, we're just going to blow through the rest of these drips and drabs here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Cord cutting going crazy. I think we talked about that last week, but it's still going. Let me tell you how good it's going. Disney Plus has hit 202 million global subscribers. Excuse me. They are projected to hit 222 million global subscribers by 2025.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's a projection way into the future.
If you believe,
but...
yes, maybe inside Cinderella's castle, they've got a germ lab or something, but COVID has been very kind to them.
Yeah.
But
okay.
that's good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that Swamp Thing show that got like immediately canceled?
Yes. The Swamp Thing show? Yeah.
Yes. Well, they're going to blow off, DC Universe is going to blow off the rest of the episodes on DCU. They're so starved for content.
Okay.
That they're just going to show them all.
Okay. All right. Is DCU available now? I don't even know.
DC Universe, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was canceled after like the first episode.
Yeah, I remember that. I kind of want to check that out, even though maybe it's...
I heard it was really good.
Is it?
I didn't get a chance to see it because one episode.
Right, exactly.
But they're going to show the rest of those, and I think there are rumors that they might be kicking around the idea to do something else. We don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. When something like that happens, you get the feeling that there's some kind of politics or something behind it, right?
Well, what else would motivate it?
Because S.H.I.E.L.D. has been on for 7 years. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't this just let it...
Just let it play.
Plus, it's a digital streaming channel or network. You need content.
Yeah.
One episode airs, and they cancel it. They blow it out.
I don't understand it. Were the ratings that bad?
None of the ratings are good. You have to take that in stride, if you're starting a fledgling network.
Right. And they already had all of the first season filmed, so why cancel it after one episode? It's so strange.
know. Well, they cut down the order too when they were shooting them. Netflix has got the movie rights to the story. You can sell rights to somebody's story. That's how things work. Because history is up for sale.
Wow.
But Netflix has the rights to the 1999 U.S. women's soccer team's victory at the World Cup.
Okay.
So no word on who's going to play Brandy Chastain's sports bra. I'm really tired. I'm blowing my punchlines here, but we'll keep moving it along. What else is happening here? It looks like... do you want to talk video games? I know you don't know anything about video games.
I don't know much about video games, but...
your opinion on some stuff.
Okay.
So we watched there's a video by Epic Games that is on YouTube.
Yep.
It's part of a tech demo that they did of their Unreal Engine, which is a long-running series of game engines. The graphical framework that games are based on, Unreal is a very popular one for companies to use. They've got a new one called Unreal 5, and they have debuted what they say is material from a new game that they're working on. I don't think they gave us any information beyond that, though.
No.
And this is essentially what games will look like on the PlayStation 5. Yes. I shall sneeze now.
Whoa, bless you. I mean, it looked good. It was pretty.
Triangles. How do you feel about triangles?
Well, they said the word triangles a lot. If I get paid every time that they said triangles, I'd be wealthy. So
that pale blue dot is made of trillions of triangles. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's cool in a way to kind of see how it comes together. It was kind of a dry video, but
well, they were in a desert. Wow.
Yeah, I see.
Funny.
But
they're talking about the thing that they were talking about is they're talking about two things: Lumen and Kinetic, which are the two parts of their engine.
Right.
Kinetic is the thing that renders stuff and does physics and stuff, and then Lumen was their lighting source.
Yes.
And Lumen and lighting is important in a game because dynamic lighting is lighting that's not fixed. In a lot of old games, it doesn't matter where your perspective, where you are, where you look. There's just something that's sort of lit up. But in more advanced games,
unrealistic. Yeah.
Light actually comes from somewhere.
Yes.
And it's so weird. Every once in a while, I'm a big video game player. I play a video game, and I think about the fact that none of that exists.
Mm-mm.
They create this space. And I got to get my guy on the thing, and I got to get him over the thing. None of that's... All this is fake.
Yeah.
And it's not fake the way that a movie is fake. A movie is shot, that is captured, and then turned into a flat image. But this is a flat image, and none of that stuff really exists.
Yes.
We're all living in a simulation is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I thought it was really impressive. And again, I think the point that I made when we were watching it as they were showing us, oh, see this statue? In this room, there are 10,000 of that statue. And none of these are like bitmapped, like pre-renders. These are all like actually physically present in the game. And I'm like, well, first of all, who cares? But second of all, your character, you show us this amazing detail on this statue, then we cut to the face of the main character, the player.
Yeah.
And it's like a Disney face. It has no detail.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
So as we get closer to being able to render things near realistically, I wondered, A, how much of the problem with the uncanny valley continue to be.
Yeah.
But also, B, will gameplay change to match the realism of what we're seeing? If you've got a little guy in overalls and he can jump 6 times his height to get away from a mushroom, and it's all 8-bit graphics, you don't think much about it.
That's
but
true.
I was watching this demo, and they were doing the typical Tomb Raider, Uncharted exploration thing.
Yeah.
A character jumps off a ledge and grabs another ledge with her fingertips, and her entire body slams against the rock wall. And I'm like, ouch nose, ouch boobs, ouch pelvis bones.
Yeah.
You can't really do that in real life.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yet we do it because we have done it since 16-bit games, and we just expect it, and that's how a 3D game works. And I'm wondering if the more real these characters get, the more unreal some of the things that they do in the game will appear, and if we'll change how they move, act, and the movements that they do to match the realism of what we're seeing. Jumping 30 feet in the air won't seem real anymore. It'll break because you're pushing so hard for verisimilitude in your graphics. I wonder if gameplay will follow suit, and eventually games will just be you're just walking.
Just a walking simulator.
Well, it's kind of what I don't know if you're familiar with Shenmue, but Shenmue is a game series by Sega, and it's basically like there is a plot. You have to find your father. He's been kidnapped by kung fu guys or something.
Okay.
But you can also go all over this town. You can open like every drawer and look at the staplers, and I don't think you're expected to do all that, but you can if you want to.
Okay.
And therefore, you can't jump super high. You're not a Superman. You're just a normal person, and it's kind of about. It's like the Yakuza. Well, no, that's not true at all. A lot of the Yakuza games are very realistic. Then you get in a fight, fire comes out of your head, and you like hit 10 guys with a bicycle. So
what?
It's a juxtaposition of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
But anyway, we'll see. Here's another note. Age of Empires 2, a game that I played in college, is one of the most popular games on Steam right now. It's a 21-year-old game.
Okay.
And people are playing away.
Why do you think that is?
It's a good game. It's a very good game.
Okay.
It's competitive.
Okay.
They have a pretty good, version of it because it's for old architecture computers, but they've adapted it well, and it's sitting. It's in the top 100 games on Steam right now, and I think it made number 15 a couple days ago.
Wow.
Yes,
that's kind of impressive.
I know. If you are, I can't remember who made it. But if you're any company that's making a AAA game that costs $500 million to make, are you just like, do these windows open? Can we open these windows? Would you say this is 12 stories or 13 stories?
Right.
Yeah, it's just got to feel weird.
Yeah, it definitely does. Interesting. Well, I think it's good news that the gamers are open to playing games that have been out for a while. You know.
I do.
Yeah.
I guess when I think about it.
Yeah.
I have so many games. I never wanted this many games. Alexander wept for there were no more games to purchase. But that's where I am. And another video game story, BioWare. BioWare.
Yeah.
What happened, man?
Oh, boy.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
BioWare is the Tara Reid of game companies.
Boy.
So much promise. Never going to stop. Oh, my God. No.
Wow.
They are prototyping what they call Anthem Next.
What is that?
Well, it's either a revamp of the original Anthem or a sequel to Anthem.
Okay, I don't think I remember what Anthem is.
Anthem is a game. You've seen me play it.
Okay.
Where you are an Iron Man type guy.
Yes.
And you start going around.
Oh, and you fly.
You fly in the jungle.
It's interactive.
And that's all you do. Yeah.
Like work with other players.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
And it was supposed to be the Destiny killer, the big
Game of the
new
year.
RPG
Yeah.
entry from BioWare that used to be the masters of RPG, and it tanked. Everybody hates it. And it basically, you can get a copy of it for free now.
Wow.
So they're going to work on, they're prototyping a new version of it, and it's like, ooh boy.
Do you think maybe they should just do something else?
Yeah, like another Dragon Age game, like everybody wants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I do.
Yeah.
And one more story. It's a comic story. If you look behind you, and listeners can't see this, you'll see Ruin. Ruin is the new main character of a new Sandman miniseries written by G. Willow Wilson. Ruin is modeling the goth dream punk collection.
Yeah. It's
Ruin is a nightmare. Nightmares, of course, are free acting individuals created by Dream to do his bidding or to scare people.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks a lot like Dream, doesn't he?
he looks like Dream's punk younger brother.
Yeah, that's a perfect description.
Yeah, I mean he's got bluish purple hair.
It looks like
flowing.
It looks like Dream, Delirium, and Death got in a transporter accident.
Yep. Because his coat, which is really cool and kind of army militaristic, it's got what do you call those front things in the things in the front that go
a flap? No,
not the flap. These little things on it, like the
Panic at the Disco things.
Yeah, what do you call those?
I don't know.
Anyways, it looks very militaristic, but then like the lining looks like Dream's coat.
Yeah.
It's very colorful and
I'm going to take this
swirly.
away so you stop describing it.
Okay, all right.
As we go on to our feature, help me figure it out. We don't know why they want to make comics into films that can't be done, and we also don't know why they won't stop ruining classic things.
With Ruin.
Now, actually, that wasn't Margaret Mitchell, right? Who wrote Scarlet? That was after she was gone, right?
I don't know.
Somebody found her notes or was just like, I'm going to write a sequel to Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
But you just don't do it. I know I'm the
Yeah.
one out here jokingly saying, like, remake everything, but you don't. All you have to do
just walk away.
Is not do that.
Yep.
And yes, you're going to, like, let's take Watchmen and let's just fillet this corpse and get every molecule of meat and just try to serve it up somehow. And I'd like to see the figures. I'd like to see the figures on what you made off of Beyond Watchmen or what you made off of the Rebirth stuff that you put Dr. Manhattan in or whatever. What if you had just left that alone?
Mm-hmm. What if you made something else?
And then you go, yeah, but when you go to, the Louvre gift shop, everything's got a Mona Lisa on it.
Right.
I guess you got a point. But I didn't invite you to say that. So
yeah, well,
get out of here.
Whoa.
Why do they do it? What if they just didn't do it?
Money. It's
money.
money.
I know it's money, but what's the tipping point between money and respect for
integrity?
I was going to try to make it more complicated, but integrity. Respect for a universally regarded work of art. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wish G. Willow Wilson luck with her new miniseries. I mean, we've been through this before.
I mean, I think she's a good writer.
When I was talking to Holly Black, sorry, can you pick that up for me? And she was talking about her new Lucifer series. I gave her my tentative blessing because it was a good pitch, but it's already over.
Yeah,
it didn't go on for a long time.
No, it didn't.
They brought a character back who explicitly, and someday you'll have to read Lucifer.
Yes,
but a character that it'd be really hard to bring back. I brought him back for a new comic.
Yeah,
and let's go. And then it was. I think there's another Lucifer book now, isn't there? There's with somebody else.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
So what if you just didn't do anything at all?
Yeah.
Anthem Next will be out soon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I understand the desire to play in the Sandman sandbox because there's a lot of stuff there. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
But just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
I mean, it's done, isn't it? I think he finished it pretty well. So Why don't you create a new fantastical story in a new fantastical world?
Yes.
And just have fun with that and
Yes.
do whatever you want because it's yours.
Yes. The Audible Sandman series will be out this summer. All right. Well, here we are.
Here we are.
Let's talk, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jon Travolta.
Yeah. What do we?
Oh, you start.
What do we want to say about Jon Travolta?
I don't know about this guy. Is this guy a good actor?
Yes, for the most part, I think so. I was wondering watching these films, when did Jon Travolta become an action star? Like, how did that happen?
Whoa.
Because, like, I mean, like, if you, like, picked him out in Greece, I wouldn't be like, that guy's gonna be pointing guns at people, and you're gonna take him seriously. And
I don't know,
like,
he's a good-looking guy.
yeah,
He's physically fit.
kind of muscular-y. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Improbable hair.
Yeah, well, that's true.
This sounds
Like an action
like
star.
an action star to me. I don't know. And I don't... Do you know better than I do how autobiographical Saturday Night Fever is? Like, I know he didn't write it, but you know, he was from New Jersey. And I'm sure that
I
he
don't know.
spent a lot
honestly.
of time, you know, eating spaghetti very carefully and probably going
Don't
out.
touch the hair!
Yeah, going out to the clubs, and so it was probably something that he knew and was familiar with, and so he could put a lot into that character and put a lot of pelvis thrusts in for the sequel, Staying Alive. But then when he gets a field of that, and we'll talk about it right now when we talk about these films, I don't know what he's doing half the time. He'll go into like a
Well,
weird Southern
a good
accent.
point.
You know, suddenly because he'll be like, "You don't know what it takes, Hale." Ooh, Mr. Hale, I'm gonna do. This is a bad example. I've created a fake bad example, but do you know what I mean?
I know what you
suddenly he's
mean. Like when we were watching Face Off.
Yeah, I double checked when we were watching Face Off. I looked up his bio again. I'm like, no, he's from New Jersey. Okay, so he's not from. It's not like he's. I don't understand.
Well,
And-
some of his readings, like I understand,
man.
like you know, him and Nicolas Cage. It's Face Off. You guys switch faces. You switch bodies.
So he's doing
you're
another
playing,
thing.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, he is doing a Nick Cage.
A Nick Cage.
And Nick Cage is doing a Travolta. Although, I've watched this movie 100 times, and this last time I'm like, it's not convincing at all. It's just Nick Cage
it's not.
doing Nick Cage and Travolta.
It's
Travolta.
not.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know,
That's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I still enjoyed the film. But there were some readings, and you turned to me a couple times, and you're like, "What is Travolta doing?" Like there was one. He said one thing, as you know, Cage or whatever, and he sounded like Jim Carrey, and then he said something else, and he sounded like somebody else. I can't even remember who it was, but it was like, who is he doing now?
Yeah.
So I just felt like it was a little all over the place.
He's like, wrong, not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow came out in 1996.
Okay.
I remember I was very excited for this film,
Okay.
and I think I liked it when I saw it. Coming down off the high of, this is when he just made a movie every year, every year.
Oh, when John Woo made a movie every year, or everybody made
Well, everybody
movies?
did, but
Oh, okay.
definitely John Woo, yeah, because you had Hard Target 95, Broken Arrow 96, Face Off 97. So he's just going out, he's using that Hong Kong cinema work ethic and
Yeah.
just putting people through their paces
This is
and just
impressive,
making movies.
honestly.
Yep. What's Broken Arrow about?
So, just real quick before I get into it.
No, we don't have time for that.
Oh, okay. It's about two. Well, it's about the Air Force. There's two fighter pilots, and they're going to do this mission.
Do you want to do Face Off? I'll do this one.
Oh, okay.
Two fighter pilots. They never get really into it, but it's in like Colorado, or you just assume that it's like, Broom Lake, Area 51, test situation type thing. They fly stealth bombers. In a domestic test course. And this evening they are having the local radar station or NORAD or whatever is going to try to track them, see if they can pick them up on the radar while they practice carrying. And I don't know if this can't really happen, does it? But they practice carrying real nuclear bombs. This is the B-2 bomber, and it's they're going to do real nuclear bombs. Travolta and Christian Slater are the pilots. Midway through the mission, Travolta attacks Christian Slater, and if essentially after a fight ejects him out of the plane. Drops the bombs, not armed, but drops them out of the plane, crashes the plane. Turns out that he is in league with a mercenary team who is working for an investor who is probably working for foreign terrorists.
Yeah, probably.
And the idea is to get these bombs and auction them off Thunderball style. Mm-hmm. In fact, I looked to check that if McClory was connected to this, and I don't think he is. Anyway, and so that's what happens, but Christian Slater's not dead. He meets Samantha Mathis, who's a park ranger, and together these plucky kids, they're going to do it.
Yep.
They're going to stop Jon Travolta while he smokes. He's with a Spider-Man hand.
A Spider-Man hand? I guess you're right.
Make the Spider-Man, whoever you are,
web.
in the sound of my voice right now, make the Spider-Man hand, then put your lips in between the crack of your index finger and your middle finger while doing Spider-Man hand. That's how he smokes in this movie.
Oh my god. Wow. I guess that's a good way to describe it.
You know what? We got to hurry through this. So let's make this a freewheeling conversation. 1997's Face Off. What happens?
So Face Off, basically, Nick Cage is a terrorist, and he accidentally kills Jon Travolta's kid. Jon Travolta has been after this guy for a while, but it's personal now. They get him, and he's injured badly and in a coma. But his mentally unstable brother has created this bomb, and it's somewhere in the city, but they don't know where it is. And they have this crazy idea. They have these surgeons, these really good surgeons.
Colm Fiore, one surgeon.
Yeah, one
Dr.
surgeon. We need you to go in there, Travolta, and
Right, it's the ultimate deep cover mission.
And get this information and get out. But in order to do that, you need to look like Castor Pollock. You need to look like your biggest enemy.
And even though a rubber Mission Impossible mask would be more plausible, we're going to cut your face off.
Surgically cut your face off and surgically transform your body and put this microphone in for your voice and everything.
Yes.
And you will effectively be him. And Castor Pollock is in a coma during all of this, but while Jon Travolta's character is in prison undercover, he wakes up. He gets his guys to get the surgeon in there and makes him look like Jon Travolta.
And hilarity ensues. Yes. That is... So I was making a list, and I'm going to check it a second time.
Okay.
Going to find out who's
naughty and nice.
You know what it is. I'm going to check it right now, and the list is characters that are Joker-ish.
Oh.
And I don't mean...
Like Batman Joker?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't mean Joaquin Phoenix, because...
No.
I mean people like Castor Troy.
Yeah.
These characters that are doing it for fun, and they do not give an F what happens.
Yes.
I think Alex DeLarge is something of a character like that.
Alex DeLarge is
the
protagonist in A Clockwork Orange. Yes. Yeah.
The Kurgan.
Oh, the Kurgan. Yeah. Absolutely. Highlander. Uh-huh.
Although the Kurgan he wants the prize, and he's definitely completely immoral or amoral. Yeah. But he has decided that the best way to get it is he just learned the lesson that just kill everybody and get the prize.
Yeah.
And Alex DeLarge is brutal and sociopathic, but he also has the vulnerability of a teenager, which he is.
Right.
But Castor Troy does not give an F. He does not care.
Nope.
He'll blow up L.A. or not blow up L.A.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants some chiclets. And he wants his tongue sucked. And yippee-ki-yay, he just wants to shoot everybody.
Yep, pretty much.
And I love the part when he is cornered. He's doing this whole thing with Travolta, and they both have each other covered, in this airplane hangar. And they do that thing where he's like, "Oh, you better be careful how you shoot me. You only got one bullet." And he's like, "Yeah, so do you." And he's like, "Woo, we got a party."
Uh-huh.
And they're pointing their guns at each other, but it's apparently not the right angle that they're comfortable in. So they both switch their arms over and are still... Why not?
I know.
Don't do that, or or duck out of the way, or
right.
shoot. I don't. Anyway, so I think the idea is they've done this a million times. They've been in this position.
Yeah, right.
And so the whole time, Castor Troy is like, "Yeah, you can shoot me. I don't care. You better shoot me, and I'll kill you. I'll kill your wife. I'll kill your daughter or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Screw it, let's do it." And he pulls the trigger, and nothing comes out. And then he's like, "I'm so sorry. Please don't kill me.
I know.
Please." It's just like this whipsawing back and forth between different moods. And everything's an act. Everything's a put on. And it's even more scary because you don't know what this person is. How can you even reach this person? What are they really feeling?
Wasn't he reaching for another weapon while
he pulls
saying
a knife
he's so
out of
sorry?
out of his back pocket or whatever. But,
yeah.
So in this film, we'll go back to Broken Arrow. So in Broken Arrow, you have a story of Deke,
Deacon.
Or not Colonel, he's a Major Deakins,
Mm-hmm.
played by Jon Travolta, who is a guy who is he's the older guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a colonel, a major, which is pretty good. I keep saying colonel because I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
But he keeps getting passed over for colonel, so he is a fairly accomplished guy, but we don't know how old he is, but you can assume he's around Travolta's age at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So his career is kind of stalled out. Then we've got Riley Hale, Christian Slater's character, who is a young guy who's a captain, and he just says to Travolta's character, "I love doing this. I love flying planes. I want to do it forever."
Right.
And Travolta's like, "I don't know if I really want to do it, forever." But they've got this sort of mentor, this senpai-kohai relationship where Travolta sort of lords everything over him. He's a better boxer than he is.
Yeah.
He's... Maverick and Goose just loved hanging out and singing Righteous Brothers to chicks, but he's kind of browbeating him all the time, and they have this sort of adversarial relationship. Mm-hmm. And that goes into the rest of the film as Travolta takes the lead of these terrorists.
Yeah.
And Christian Slater's trying to stop him. There's this game of what's he really thinking, and trying to one-up each other until it culminates in kind of dumb, but I don't know, I was kind of feeling it, a fight at the end where he's got to stop Travolta. They're on the train car with the bomb. Travolta's got the remote. And Christian Slater is getting the crap kicked out of him, but he starts to get the upper hand back. And he's got a crowbar, and he's hitting him with the crowbar. And he pulls back, and he drops the crowbar, and he's like, "We're going to box it."
Yeah, right,
it's like,
exactly.
"Don't box it now. Bash his brains in with the crowbar. Denver is at stake." But he's he finally gets
integrity.
That thing. Well, it's integrity, but was this all just a pissing contest between these two men?
I know.
Forget the bombs and everything else. Apparently it was.
Yeah.
But he wins, the way that would hurt Deke the most, which is he finally is beating him, in a boxing match. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I thought that was a good character moment.
That was really great.
Yeah.
When this movie first started, I thought it was going to be a boxing film. Because that's what we focus on.
You got a broken arrow, Rock.
I didn't know. But yeah, no, I think that's really cool, and I think that's important. I like the character bit too, where they have this thing where whoever wins, there's a bet, and they give each other a $20 bill.
Yeah.
And he finds the $20 bill that the Deacon had kind of waved in front of his face and had the remote underneath.
Yeah.
And it's all blown to pieces. There's parts of it missing and everything. And he was like, "I won." And you think, think he's going to savor this forever. And then he hears,
no, he could finally let it go.
Yeah.
This stupid contest between these two macho men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he hears what's her name's voice, like what's her name, Terry, I think. They only say it.
We
like,
only learned it at the very end.
I know. He literally lets it go, and it's not important to him anymore.
Sure.
So I think that was a good moment.
Yeah. The rest of this movie, I don't know.
Oh, guess what? No
doves
doves in this one.
Yeah, there's no doves in this one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things in this one, though.
Yes.
This movie, too much is going on. No, seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's complicated because, like we said, if you're gonna, because this could be done as a. Trying to think, because I was going to say Michael Mann, but Michael Mann cares about characters too. You could do this in more of a documentary way, where you've got these two pilots, and we're following the men and women who are trying to recover these things, a Tom Clancy-esque kind of thing. And it kind of is that, because all these characters are here.
Yeah.
But also, it's grounded in the relationship, in the adversarial relationship between these two men, which is always the focus of the film.
Yeah.
And remains the focus of the film. So why do we need Frank Whaley, Delroy Lindo, Kurtwood Smith? Why do we need any of these people? Frank Whaley is there to be. He literally has the Jack Ryan scene where everybody's sitting around the big board or whatever, and they're like, "Well, this is what we're going to do." And he's like, "Excuse me, we shouldn't do that. We should do this instead." They're like, "You crazy son of a bitch! Okay, we're going to do that.
I know.
Now get out there on that. I'm not a field officer. Get out there and help them."
Yeah.
And he doesn't. Really, he just kind of shows up. He's a character that things are explained to, and then he's there at the end to meet with Christian Slater when he comes back, and should be taken immediately to a hospital instead of going right back out there by himself to stop Jon Travolta and his terrorists.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then we don't see him after that, and then Delroy Lindo is just brutally killed, just randomly. When his helicopter crashes.
I was honestly when there was a shot of him alone in the as the only passenger in the helicopter, I was like, uh-oh.
I like the fact that there was no doves. It was Jon Travolta trying to play by the rules and to not do his stuff because his stuff comes back in a big way in the next movie.
Yes.
But it was just, I think it was too overstuffed. I think it could have been smaller, probably cheaper, and focused even more on that relationship that I was talking about.
Yeah. I mean, what did you think of the actress Terry or whatever?
Boy,
the character of Terry.
It's funny, they were in Pump Up the Volume together, right? In 1992.
That's
Christian
funny.
Slater and Samantha Mathis. I've never been sold on her.
I'm not sold on her in this.
I think
film.
she's really cute and she's really earnest, and I think that works if you're going to say be Daisy in Super Mario Brothers. But she's done some dramatic stuff that I didn't really. Pump Up the Volume's okay, but.
I haven't seen that.
I don't. Maybe it's just not our best takes that they're using, but I'm not really convinced. But then again, we started with talking about Travolta. I'm not convinced by Travolta a lot of the time. This movie is paced. I don't want to say badly, but strangely, because
there's some strange shots in it.
They have that chase with the Hummers. They manage to get the Hummer that's got the bombs.
Yes,
and they get away. Then they go to this mine, and the next half an hour of the movie is just in this mine.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of we got to do this and it's important. And we just do that for a long time when there could be cool dialogue. People could be revealing their backstories to each other and be talking about their motivations. But it's just business. It's just like Travolta talking to Terry Long, and there's no good dialogue that's really worked up between them or anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of kind of waiting in between some pretty good parts.
Yeah.
The train part at the end, the train sequence is great.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of really cool, explosions and things
There's a lot
happening.
of really cool explosions. I like the part when the buildings fell down. There's a really weird part where the park ranger has somehow been tracking them, Indiana Jones hanging onto a sub-style through 3 different forms of transportation.
Yes.
And she makes it into the bomb, the car that has the bomb in it, and Travolta shows up out of nowhere. And then he's doing this thing where he's like, because he's gambling and he's always playing games and trying to test people. So he's like, would you want to get shot in the face, or would you want to possibly condemn millions to nuclear Armageddon?
Yeah.
So I'm going to shoot you if you don't put the code in that arms the bomb,
Yes.
And they make it like this weirdly
Sexual
sexual kind of
thing?
thing where he's like, oh, push the button. Oh.
Yeah, and he's like moving the gun around her body kind of like sexually.
Yes.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's
also
very
weird,
strange.
and maybe this is his choice, but in both of his John Woo movies, his character uses an automatic handgun, a pistol that can fire automatic rounds.
Okay, why is that weird?
Because most guns just shoot one bullet for every pull of the trigger. This is a gun, a one-handed pistol gun.
Yeah.
You pull the trigger and it goes. Brrr,
Oh,
that's a very rare kind of gun.
Weird. Okay.
And both Castor Troy and as Sean Archer and Deakins use one.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. This movie features I think it's the first appearance of the Howie scream.
Oh, really?
I have to clear my throat to do it. But when Christian Slater jumps off the top of the train car, holding onto coax cable, and yells, "Incoming!" Don't yell anything. Doesn't matter. Hits Howie Long, blows him out the side of the balsa wood train car wall, and then he falls 90 feet off of this rail bridge they happen to be on.
Yeah.
And he goes... I should have had it queued up on the board here, but yeah, that's the Howie scream.
Yeah, right. But isn't that's from Star Wars, isn't it?
No, that's the Wilhelm scream.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's man being eaten by alligators.
Oh, what? Really?
It's from a movie called Jungle Drums. Don't look it up. It's probably pretty racist.
Wow.
But that's where the Wilhelm scream comes from. But the Howie scream comes from this.
That's weird. It's a nice little bit of movie trivia.
I guess.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that. I like it's weird because I like the construction of the character, Travolta's character in this film.
Yeah.
I think he does very little with it. It's mostly him standing around, kind of nervously smoking for a lot of the film.
Yes.
Then we're supposed to see him kind of go through a threshold himself because, remember, he came up with this plan.
Yes.
He's a guy who feels superior to everybody, but he is not a terrorist himself. And at one point, he kills Bob Gunton.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you know,
I know.
Never killed me before. I don't know what the big deal is. I really don't. And it's like, okay, so maybe he was just always a sociopath or whatever. And then he sets off the bomb and the helicopter crashes and he's like, I said, God damn.
Yeah, right.
And he's crossed some kind of line, I guess. I don't know if he's supposed to be sort of a bit driven crazy at this point, because the rest of the movie he's basically just like, oh, you're crazy, ain't it cool? And he's like, penetrating a woman with a gun and stuff like that. Like, is he supposed to have gone over the edge at this point? I don't know. But I like the idea that he was a fighter pilot who had killed thousands of people from the sky, but had never done it himself.
Right.
But the movie this isn't that kind of movie. They don't have time for that.
No, I know.
And I like the relationship between him and Hale. Now, move over to Face Off.
Yes.
Why couldn't I think the relationship between Castor Troy and Sean Archer, or Sean Archer and Castor Troy, could have been more like that. We see Castor Troy take over Sean Archer's life and start to live his life, and he's kind of bored by it, but then he realizes that he can like add his own flair to it. Ruin it, but he could find a lane that he could drive in on this street. And it's all deeply disturbing.
It is.
It's deeply disturbing.
It is.
We'll talk about that in a second. And then we also see Castor Troy. Like, I just noticed this when we're watching this film. Many of my favorite movies are prison movies. I don't know why that is. But like a third of this movie is a prison movie, right?
It is.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And so Castor Troy, once he gets out of that, then he gets to sample Sean Archer gets to sample some of Castor Troy's life.
Yes.
And he realizes it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
If you don't like drugs and killing people, there's not much to his life.
Right.
And I thought, what if you had that dynamic between Castor Troy and Sean Archer where they switch lives? It's like Gun Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Freaky Die Day.
Whoa.
We did it. And what if, like, we get the idea that Sean Archer is an older guy. He has a almost adult daughter.
Yes.
And we don't really know how old Castor Troy is, but he does have a son.
Yeah.
A young, like, 5-year-old son.
Yes.
So what if, like, it was almost an escape for Castor Troy? What if Castor Troy was older? And his I don't give a F was more, I'm just kind of bored of all this, rather than I'm high on life, And so it would make sense more as to why he why doesn't he just go, yes, sir, I'll get right on that, and get in a helicopter and just disappear? Like, why does he decide to live this guy's life?
I think
they use the flimsy description that he wants to, use his knowledge of terrorism to go straight and because he's a megalomaniac, be on the cover of Time or something like that.
I think he's got.
But what if changing somebody's face can't make you younger? But what if there was a 20-year difference between them? So the hot young agent Sean Archer has finally caught Castor Troy, this older, experienced terrorist, but now he can live this younger man's life. No offense, love Joan Allen, but he's got a young, hot wife. Maybe there was only one kid, and the kid was the kid that died.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I can live this young life now, and I can do whatever I want.
I see what you're saying. I mean, there's more of a motivation to stay there then.
Yeah.
Besides, like, his, current motivation. Well, he's got my face, and then I can be free and ruin his life.
Crimes using the FBI or something.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, I think it's kind of flimsy, and there isn't an emotional core like there is in the competition between Deakins and Hale in Broken Arrow. Mm-hmm. And that's the core of a Freaky Friday story is...
There's heart.
Your life is better than mine. Whoa.
Yeah,
whoa.
Right.
Who's playing with the light switch? Whoa.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
It's something I thought about on the 101st time that I watched Face Off. Mm-hmm. Something else I thought about when I watched Face Off. This movie's not very good.
Oh, you don't think so?
I think I've already told the story on the show about how I lost a date over trying to defend John Woo's American films.
Yes.
Face Off is got like an 92% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 82% on Metacritic. Uh-huh. Criticism is dead. I don't think that's true or that's accurate. And Broken Arrow is a 61 on Metacritic, 53 on Rotten Tomatoes. Harsher, but perhaps too harsh.
Yeah, perhaps.
I really enjoyed Broken Arrow this time around. I thought it was like a really good kind of B movie.
Yeah, it was a good B movie, that's for sure.
What'd you think about Face Off?
I liked it.
You've heard a lot.
Yeah,
You've heard the rumors.
I hadn't seen it before, and this is actually, it was on my list of movies that I haven't seen. Just a short, quick ad for Co-Videos where we watch movies that I haven't seen, and we watch films that maybe you haven't seen or haven't seen in a while.
It was nice up until the point that it kind of just trailed on for a long time.
Okay, all right. But I enjoyed it overall. It's kind of silly. I mean, the concept is kind of silly.
It was going to be, the script was it was in the future. It was a sci-fi movie.
Right.
And Travolta's or John Woo was like, no, I want the drama to matter in this, which I think is the right move and is admirable, but why'd you cast these two?
Movie.
Why'd you cast these two if that's true?
Yeah, right.
These idiots.
I thought, okay, Nick Cage in the beginning is he's just eating it up being Castor Troy, and he's horrible. He's absolutely horrible. But I don't know. I feel like when he has Travolta's face, I mean, he's horrible. He's still horrible, but I almost feel like he's not as bad.
What if they were switched?
Oh, if they were switched?
It's true that Nicolas Cage is the best terrorist, and John Travolta's probably the best cop guy. But remember, for the majority of this film, they will be the other person. They will be
switched.
So what if Travolta was, again, like I said, like this older figure, but then he gets in the body of Nick Cage, or the face of Nick Cage or whatever, and then he's like, ah, woo! And he's doing all that, and we get to see him doing it.
Yeah, right.
And it's different because maybe he wasn't like that before. On one side, we really emphasize the psychosis that Sean Archer feels.
Yes.
Literally wearing the face of the man he's been tracking for
Yes.
10 years who killed his son. Like,
Yeah.
he really has problems with this. And then we put drugs on top of it, and it's even worse.
Uh-huh.
And Castor Troy's just walking around.
He has no problem with
No.
it whatsoever.
No.
And this guy's been hunting him. You would think he like you said before, he's a sociopath. He doesn't care.
Yeah, but that's you can't play that. Like, what? It's more interesting if there's
there's emotional
reacting
weight
to something,
there.
you
Yeah,
know? And
yeah.
instead it's just Jon Travolta doing his Jim Carrey stuff.
Yeah, I know.
John, I got all these. John, can I call you Indina Menzel or whatever? I got these ideas. What if I did like smoking, and then I went.
I know. And then like, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
I'll pick it up.
Okay.
Surprise Tom Jane. This movie has Surprise Tom Jane.
Surprise Tom Jane.
Who is also doing a thing.
Yeah.
It's like everybody came on and John Woo's like, see the sign?
Yeah.
You must have a thing.
You must have a thing.
Oh man, I gotta get a thing together.
And not only does he have shoes, he has metal shoes that are magnetized to the floor.
Can I just like say that my guy doesn't have to wear the shoes? You have to wear the shoes. I like the idea of, and we just watched something else that was kind of like this. What's the last movie we just watched? I'm so tired.
Clockwork Orange, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. No.
Broken Arrow.
Oh, Broken Arrow.
Well, anyway, the point is that I like the idea that Sean Archer is kind of forced to go rogue. You always have those movies where, oh no, James Bond's gone rogue. Oh, MI5 is trying to hunt him down or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this, he doesn't even want to be rogue, but he literally has the face of the guy everybody's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So now he is, is driven to ground, and he's a bad guy.
Right.
And the movie is too long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It'd be perfect.
It is long.
At about an hour 45, 2 hours tops. And I noticed there's just one extra time around the track that we don't need when he goes to visit his wife. And then we go through the extra day where she's got to get John Travolta's blood by stabbing him in his sleep.
I know.
But he doesn't know. And then we go back and, she realizes that Nicolas Cage is not her husband that she has been sleeping with.
Mm-mm.
That's called rape.
Yeah, yeah.
And the movie, once again, not that kind of movie, I guess.
But
I like the fact that it isn't like soul crushing for her. I'm not trying to minimize anybody's response to something like that. But I like the fact that she's just like, all right, we got to kill this son of a bitch. Like,
yeah, right.
We got to take him out, and I'm willing to help you take him out.
Yeah.
And because I had an encounter with somebody who I thought was you and wasn't, that's violating. But it's not going to break me. We got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
He killed our kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Although the fact that it's just treated like a Revenge of the Nerds, like, oh, you're not so and so.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Right.
Wow.
I remembered what I was going to say.
Baby.
Mike Myers. Yeah. I didn't really understand why they had to kill Castor Troy's ex-girlfriend. Besides, I guess, to make the kid
so
part
the kid
of the
was
family.
free to be adopted. That's not how adoption works.
No, it's not.
Hey, Eve, I just brought this kid home from the last shootout I was in.
Okay.
Let's
he's
rub his
part
face.
Of the family now.
He's
I
in
know.
the family.
That was a weird thing. We got to have a thing. This family has to have a thing.
Got bad memories about me trying to defend that to a woman who was looking at the door.
Oh, no.
But anyway, yeah, there's some incredible stunt work in this film. Incredible.
Yeah.
I've told you the story. I'll tell the audience, too, about the boat chase that's at the end of the film. A film that's already too long.
Yes.
And honestly forces the funeral of the deputy director of the FBI to a beachside chapel so we'd be close to the marina so we can have a boat chase at the end.
Yes.
A boat chase that was supposed to take place in Hard Target, and they had everything set up. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme's like, I don't want to go on a boat. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll put a wig on the stunt guy and put him on a horse, and we'll do that instead. Thanks. The asshole from Brussels.
I didn't realize that they had everything set up, and then he was like, I don't want to go on the boat.
Yeah.
Like, great timing, Jean-Claude.
Yeah.
Could have said that a long time ago.
He had to meet his coke dealer. I like the fact that you pointed out that there's the whole story that tells Joan Allen's character that this really is her husband.
Yes.
It's him talking about taking her out for a date when they were teenagers or whatever, and they went out for surf and turf, but she's a vegetarian. And you flash back to half an hour, probably 45 minutes earlier in the movie, Jon Travolta as Castor Troy, makes a dinner for the romantic dinner, and it's lobster and all this stuff, and she's like, wouldn't she think that was weird?
Yeah, wouldn't she be like, honey,
Forget
I'm a
that
vegetarian.
He has a totally different dick than my husband, but honey, why'd you make me lobster?
Exactly.
You know I'm a vegetarian. You know I'm allergic.
Wouldn't there have been a conversation? I just feel like that was like, she told him he was acting weird, but she could have been like, you're acting weird. You know I'm a vegetarian. Why did you make lobster?
Yeah. Why are you smoking like that? So anyway.
Yeah.
But, amazing. Speaking of the boat chase, it's a pretty good boat chase.
It is a pretty good boat chase.
It's like this entire movie, completely ridiculous.
Yes.
Because at one point, Nicolas Cage's boat drives through another boat, which then, you know where the fuel tank is on a boat? This boat is like Hiroshima going off.
I know.
And Nicolas Cage's boat comes flying out of this fireball. He's fine, of course.
I know. I just was like, how is this even possible?
But it runs right up against the problem of the increase in lensing technology and resolution of a picture, because there are a lot of stuntman face in this. A lot. Like a guy is, he's skiing on the side of the boat or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not them. And then the thing where the boat... their boat hits something and they both fly off it, and the boat's flying through the air.
Yes.
They're flying through the air.
Yes.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yes.
They survive a 50-foot fall sideways. It's just two
stunt guys.
Two guys in ties. It's just not them at all.
Yeah.
It's fine. It just happens, but... Okay.
Yes.
This time, it is the future.
Mm.
It's 2028.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Castor Troy's son,
yes,
raised by Sean Archer, is now a father himself.
Uh-huh.
And let's say he works for the FBI.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Castor Troy is a part of him still.
Yes.
Some things run deep.
Uh-oh.
And so he begins to lose his personality and starts to become the Castor. This is just the Return of the Joker from Batman Beyond. But starts to become Castor Troy. In the meantime, Dominique Swain's character, his adoptive sister, is not a cop, or is. Maybe he's not a cop. He's not a cop. She goes into the FBI. Uh-huh. She goes, I'm going to get rid of this nose piercing, and I'm going to join the force. Uh-huh. So she's a cop. He starts to act weird. Face Off 2. Face Offer. Make me an offer on this face.
Whoa.
And then Adam, he runs a face-stealing terrorist business where they sell faces to the highest bidder.
Oh my
God. It's the future. Face Off 2. Face Offer.
Would they get John Woo back?
I don't know where John Woo is right now.
I heard he went back to Hong Kong. He's doing films over there. I looked him up. But I want to know
I bet
why
that's not quite as fun now.
Yeah. I want to know
Hong Kong is Chinese.
Yeah, I want to know why he decided to do that.
Because he just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
He made another Nick Cage movie, with Nick Cage called Wind Talkers, which was about Navajo code talkers in World War II. Sounds like a great idea, but also a pretty sensitive subject. How many doves do you think we can fit onto this battlefield?
Yeah.
The Battle of the Doves. And so that was not well received. He then made a big Chinese epic, a 2-part film called Red Cliff.
I think that was considered his return to Chinese cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have had some American financing. It came out over here as one film. But yeah, and that is, of course, based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Also kind of mixed reviews. But, if you want to overstuff Chinese epic, that's your way to go. And yeah, he just kind of does that now. So I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
The 90s are weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We grew out of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Pogs. That lipstick where it's it's all dark, but then you also go around the edges of your lips with a dark lip liner.
Lip liner? Yeah, I know what you're doing. What you're saying.
Frosted tips.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah, Tamagotchis and Pogs, yeah. Yeah, it was a weird time.
It was a weird time.
And it was a time when it was
ripped
okay.
jeans on purpose.
When it was okay for... There's just so much unmined stuff. It's okay for a terrorist to take on the life of the man whose son he killed. Then ogle his daughter, not his daughter, but otter his enemy's teenage daughter in panties.
Yep.
Then go to the grave of the son that he killed on the anniversary or on his birthday, I guess, and just be like, "Yeah, I don't like this." It's just like I don't know what you do. I mean, you don't want the crying to get in the way of the guns, but
I know
you're opening us up for a lot here.
I know,
and we don't really follow up on it. A lot of flipping. I think if these guys just held still, they might hit something with their guns. But like Nicolas Cage is doing like full-on side flips and front flips, trying to shoot somebody.
Yeah, with his gold guns.
With the gold guns.
Yeah. So that part when he, as Castor Troy, as Sean Archer, walks in on his teenage daughter in her underwear.
Yes.
As a former teenage girl, there is no flipping way you would be okay with your dad seeing you in your underwear, and you'd be totally cool with that.
He's probably...
You would be like, Dad, privacy, please, out.
That's the thing about these films, though, is that, and I don't know, there's two different screenwriters or two different, pairs of screenwriters on both films. There are all these, like, character bits that John Woo has in his films, and sometimes they're really weird. Example, I don't know. Just anything that any of the villains do in Hong Kong action movies. Mm-hmm. The guy with the bowl cut who rides the motorcycle in Hard Boiled, which is really weird. Or I don't know. And then there's all these like things that are like character bits, but they'd be really, I don't know. They just work for some reason when a Chinese voice and face is saying them.
Okay.
But then you try to get like the guy that was in Hairspray to do them, and it's like, this doesn't work. This is weird. The way that he talks to Margaret Cho is the person that works for him at the FBI.
I know.
He's got a team of like the biggest idiots working for him in this, this CTU like office.
Right.
And he's just the things that he says to them are just so weird.
He like touches her face a couple of times.
This is all about they would never survive the COVID outbreak. They'd all be dead.
I know. You said that about their family with the face, the hand thing.
It just that would be that. There you go. We could add that to Face Offer. Another outbreak hits and the world is devastated. We all need faces that are germ free. And Adam Archer's got them himself. I don't know where I was going, but the point is that there's just all these like little character things that are interesting. The suck my tongue thing is like you could have tested that.
So gross.
It's just weird, but I don't know. What I'm saying is that I liked Face Off the least I've ever liked it this time that I watched it.
Oh no!
And it's probably only the second time that I've seen Broken Arrow, but I was like, that was okay.
Okay.
So I don't
you
know how
liked
to feel.
Broken Arrow more than
everything
Face
was
Off?
shaken for me.
I liked them both. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just kind of liked how ridiculous I felt like Face Off was, but
how is that not like a midnight movie or a
it should be
eat marijuana dope brownie movie? What is it? Don't people like get high and watch movies or something?
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
That'd be a great get high movie.
Yeah, because especially Nick Cage acting so weird at the beginning. And all the time when he like sees his reflection, and as
there are parts where it's literally like John Woo just yelled off camera, "Do something, Nick Cage."
Yeah.
And so he's like,
"I know."
I'm doing
he does
vampire's kiss face.
Yeah, he goes woo a lot.
Yeah,
especially
and also,
like in the prison fight.
I noticed too that I think they had they married a lot of those takes together because you do a huge crowd scene. Tom Jane and 200 extras are there.
Yeah.
And you're kind of moving the camera around, so you just get a lot of footage, right? Mm-hmm. But then you kind of clip it all together, and when you do, he's now said woo 9 times.
Yes.
Or like when he does the thing where he goes to the guard and he's like, "I'm out of cigarettes," and the guy's like, "Yeah, get back in line." And I said, "I'm out of cigarettes." Bam, because he needs this cigarette for this plan where he's going to burn somebody with a cigarette later somehow.
Yeah.
And so after the guards beat him up and they take him away, he holds up the cigarette and he's like, "Anybody got a light?" But as they're taking him out, they're taking him from the middle of this room, like 60 yards to the exit, and we shoot it with all these different sort of angles. And so he ends up saying, "Anybody got a light?" 7 times. And at that point, it's like, okay, yeah, it's get some new material. I thought this guy was funny. This guy was the Joker.
Yeah, right. Like, say something else. Don't keep just repeating yourself.
Or just shoot it in a way that he says it. We see Tom Jane. We see, I think Alessandro Nivola's gone at that point. Establish somebody else. Oh, no, we see character actor, can't remember his name, but the guy who runs the prison is like,
oh, yeah.
This guy thinks he's special, but he's not special.
Right.
And then as he's getting taken back through one last time, have him repeat it again, and he's through the door.
I see what you're saying.
But I think Wu just was like, no, we'll just get a bunch of this and just do your stuff. Just do your bits.
Yeah, right.
And then they put it all together, and he's doing a lot of the same bits in different takes.
Yes.
So that there's that moment where he's like, woo, I'm having fun. I almost decapitated somebody with a lunch tray. And then he's like,
I know.
And we get that. He does that like 3 times. And it's like, did you want to make that a 3-time moment, or
this is why this movie
is this just continuity?
2 hours and 20 minutes.
This is why the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah, the prison is an oil derrick. A lot of ideas in this film.
I know, but he gets away anyways.
It's
like,
also
he jumps off, and the helicopter's like, well, he's gone.
It's a Black Ops prison, right?
Yeah.
So Castor Troy and Pollux Troy, international terrorists, are there. Frank Zabaka's there. Dubov he must be somebody. I'm assuming he's some apparatchik or Russian gun runner or something like that. But then you've got like, oh snap guy. Like Nick Cage says something to somebody, and then there's a guy that goes, it's like a 18-year-old black guy who's like, ooh. Is he a computer hacker? Why is he in the black site prison?
I don't know.
And then at one point they come to Nick Cage and they go, you got a visitor. There's visiting hours at the black site prison? I
know.
Why did you guys think this through?
Well, and like, but I think what's great about that is, he thinks it's going to be one of the 2 people besides the doctor who
But
works saying, for the FBI.
But it's so nonchalant. It's just it's like any prison movie where they go, you got to get cleaned up. You got a visitor.
Yeah.
Do they have a work release?
Yeah, right. Right. Why
All right,
you have a visitor?
Punch out, back to the black site prison, get in the helicopter.
Exactly. And they leave him alone with him, too, which I thought was
Sean
weird.
Archer.
I know.
Or is he?
Right, exactly.
It's like looking in a mirror, but not. He does say not! Broken Arrow and Face Off, you know them, you love them. Go watch them. If that's what you want to do.
Yes.
All right, that's it.
Yes.
We went too long.
I
always
know.
do.
Like Face Off, we went too long.
I love the news too much.
It's hard to know what to cut,
Well,
from the news.
There's a lot of things we could probably cut.
I guess.
And also, it's just, you want to talk about, I don't know. I think we did a good job. I think we brought something up here, the cool smoking films of Jon Travolta. I think we were pointing something out.
Right.
But what do you say? Like Face Off, which is 20 pounds of movie in a 5-pound bag, just trying to tackle the what Jon Travolta was doing in his post Pulp Fiction resurgence. We could have watched Michael.
Oh boy,
remember that?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
He's a bad actor. I finally decided.
Wow. Is he an angel in Michael?
He is an angel.
Yeah.
Yes, not COVID.
Yes, not COVID.
Yes, he is an angel. And that movie is from hell.
Whoa.
Let's say that if you want to disagree with us about Michael being from hell, you can tell us about that on socials of the media.
Yes.
Just Enough Trope on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the old familiar places. You can join with us and talk with us about movies, TV shows, comic books, whatever you like. Also, we're on Discord, so I would encourage you to join us there. We chat about all this sort of stuff as well as off-topic subjects.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about Star Trek, you can do it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a safe space.
It is.
We also talk about, we're also on social media. It is late.
It is
we're
late.
We're also on listening platform services. You want to take this part?
Yeah, we're on listening platform services.
Nope, I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
iTunes, Stitcher, you got it. You know it. Go there. Subscribe to the show. Rate it. Come on. Rate us and review us. I'm putting you on the spot.
You
you watch me do it. You've watched me do it for 7 years.
Cool smoking cigarettes.
This isn't-
5 cool smoking cigarettes.
You just made a half of this whole thing. Yeah, give us 5 stars if you dare. If your conscience can handle it.
Oh, I know.
That's
5
it.
faces.
It's too late. It's too late. And the answer was 5 butterflies. That's what he had instead of doves. Give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. We'll be back next week to, hopefully well rested, to talk about something else. And until then, we are signing off. I am your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.
Yeah.